All of us reach a point in time where we are depleted and need to somehow find a way to reignite the fire within. But how do we spark that flame? Welcome to Reignite Resilience, where we will venture into the heart of the human spirit. We'll discuss the art of reigniting our passion and strategies to stoke our enthusiasm. And now, here are your hosts, Natalie Davis and Pamela Cass.
At least giving yourself the space to acknowledge it.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a powerful thing, because there are so many times when we're coaching people and something will come up. And when you dig a little bit deeper, you do find that it was because of something that happened years and years ago. And they don't even realize it because, it's something that's become this belief. It's a neural pathway that's been formed over years of things happening. And unless we identify it, how do we know how to change so that we don't keep in the same pattern that we were in before? So that's a beautiful exercise, and it's a tough one.
It is tough. But the beautiful thing about it is growing with your story, right? So going back a year ago, right, where let's say I thought about my situation where I became a young mom and the trauma behind that. And I write it down, right? And I write it, I don't want to say in black because it wasn't bad. Now I don't see it as that, but I wrote it in black.
Yeah.
Right. And so then you have an aha moment, a ping, and you're like, no, we're changing that to blue. We're going to rewrite that story in blue.
Yeah.
We're going to highlight the heck out of it because it's beautiful. And I think again, going back to stadium pitches and owning who you are, there's something very beautiful in writing that down and reading it.
Yeah.
And realizing that what you thought was horrible and bad and ugly and messy 5 years down the road was actually a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Right.
And so the goal is at the end of your life that your story's just written in blue.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We're done with the black. We're done with the red. It was just all beautiful because it made me, made my kids who they are, made my husband who he is. How's that not beautiful?
Yeah.
Right. So that's the hope, is to do that exercise, dig deep, right? Go to the, I like to use the analogy 12, 3, 6, and 9, right? Where you think, oh, it's, it happened at this 12 a.m. We're going all the way around and it's just real bad and it's dark over here. And then all of a sudden you're like, no, it's just all been beautiful. And that, to me, I've done my job as a coach when people can start looking at their lives differently and not focusing on the things that could make your life really bad, but focusing on the things that are meant to make your life beautiful. And all the other stuff's just kind of static in the background. It's just not meant to stay with us.
Beautiful.
That's such a powerful thing. And I think, to your point, and I think the common theme that we have seen in this podcast that we've done, now for a year and a half, that people have gone through very traumatic events in their lives. Every single guest that we've had on has taken that experience and woven something that has become beautiful that's helping other people. And I'm such a firm believer that things happen in our life because we're meant for a greater purpose, and it's to help other people that have gone through similar situations or be an inspiration for somebody. So it's not in vain. Those things happen because they're supposed to happen.
Right.
And that it creates who we are. And every one of those things has prepared us for the next thing.
Yes.
Next thing. And
well, one of my traumas was having a child at a young age. For any 16-year-old that may ever listen to this podcast, I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you in here. I feel you. I know that. But how bad would it be if I kept saying that was a horrible thing that happened to me?
Yeah.
How bad would that be? I would not be focusing on the fact that at the moment it seemed like my life was over, as I knew it as a 16-year-old that had just gotten her driver's license, right? That's how it feels.
Yeah.
But man, was it beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time I saw him, I have this picture where my doctor sat him on my chest, and it is the messiest picture. As moms, you get what I'm talking about. And he looked up at me, and he had this huge brown eyes. And I just looked down at him, and I was like, well, it's just me and you, buddy. Like, it's just me and you. And all of the sudden, it was like, this is my entire reason for living is sitting on my chest.
Yeah.
Everything else, going out with my friends, driving, all the things that I thought were my life had no meaning when I touched him for the first time.
Yeah.
And everybody has a moment like that. It may not be meeting your child for the first time. It may, I don't know, but owning it. Yeah. Allowing what you thought was going to be just I can't even believe this has happened to me, into turning into, I'm glad that happened for me.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, Shannon, that was one part of your journey, part of that beautiful dash that you're drawing.
Yep.
And then you enter into the medical field. And like you alluded to, a profession that you like. So you were a nurse and you love that, striving. That's great. And you decided to take this giant leap into entrepreneurship because it was fulfilling your purpose. In between there, though, you also met your fabulous husband who has been so supportive and uplifting and now business partner. And not just by name alone, like truly business partner.
Truly.
And so kind of walk us through that because that was a transition for you as well, just going from.
Yeah. I mean, it was scary to leave what was steady. Right. I knew what my paycheck was going to be. I had insurance. I living the American dream, right? Had minivan and all the things. So I went through a divorce and was a single mom of now 2 boys, and lived right up the street from my grandparents, which was gorgeous because if I needed a break, they just ran to my grandma's, and it was just she would cook dinner for us, and it was just great. So I met my husband. I will be very honest. I really did not have a desire to get remarried. I just felt like at that point in my life, okay, I've had a baby out of wedlock. I've now have a failed marriage. I am used goods. I'm just going to raise these kids to the best of my ability, and nobody wants this. I mean, that again, intrusive thoughts.
Intrusive thoughts. If you are not picking up on it, that is an intrusive thought right there.
Very much an intrusive thought.
Yeah.
But I thought that for years. I didn't think there was going to be anybody that would want somebody that had been through what I went through. I didn't think somebody was going to want my kids. It was just a lot. And so I met my husband on Match.com. We talked for a little bit before we met. I was just like, I don't know. He's good looking, all what I could see. I'm like, well, this is he's real handsome, and he's tall and just all, just very, like, I was like, okay, well, if I was going to get remarried, probably be somebody like that.
I'd consider it with someone like that.
I mean, like if it was going to if the Lord had it for me, I'd be all right with this one. And so, we went out on a Friday, and my husband is an introvert. If you've not picked up on it, I am an extrovert.
No.
And very type A, like things a certain way. And my husband is the polar opposite. Now, he's very systematic. My husband worked in the golf industry when we met, had always worked in the golf industry. It's what he majored in college. And that life to me was fine. He had a steady job. I had a steady job. It was just like, this will work. So went out on a Friday. we went back out again on Tuesday, which he'll tell you he does not feel like the second date went as well as the first date. I thought it was fabulous, but his loss for thinking that. And so then we went back out that weekend, and he said he knew he had to start saving for a ring.
Oh.
He was like, he had never been married before. He did not have children. He had nephews, which he was crazy about, but he had never gotten to experience having his own children. And so we came in like a wrecking ball. I mean, me and my two kids are like, woo, you know, all the fun and boy things. And so we got engaged later that year and married the next year. He needed some help with the golf course that he was running. So at that time I was doing home health, and I was like, hey, I'll come help you. And so I worked with him at the golf course, and we just worked really well together. He had, like I said, had been single. I had been married. He had kind of his headspace where like what he wanted in a partner, not just a wife, but a partner. And I had the same thoughts. It is not always beautiful in our house. I'm just going to be fully transparent. Yesterday, as a matter of fact, was a rough day for us, but Chip and Joanna Gaines probably argue. So it is what
absolutely.
It is.
Yes.
But it's hard, you know, it's obviously I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. He knows how I think. He knows my expectations with our business and what the product that we want to give our clients. And so he's really good at like being my voice of reason, me being type A business owner. Sometimes I can like, and he's like, bring it down, woman, like bring it down, you know? And so I need that. He has stepped back from the business a lot. He did a lot of the moving initially, and that just is not good for anybody to do for years and years. And so now he just sort of manages the warehouse side of our business, and then does some other things on the side that, you know, that he enjoys. And so, like taking that leap of not only getting out of two steady jobs, jobs, right? Because we both had really steady jobs. And then moving to a town where we knew one couple, which was his college roommate and his wife, which we love dearly, love them. So moving, having a warehouse full of furniture and knowing no one to decorate for. I mean, if that doesn't say failure, I don't know what does.
Exactly. Yes.
And we're like, all right, well, we're going to spend our entire life savings and have to go live with my grandma in 2 years. And so anyway, lots of intrusive thoughts during that time, lots of like really having to learn to trust somebody again. I mean, we were newlyweds when we moved here. And so living a life of, my dad was murdered by 2 men. Being in the situation that I was put in, being a young mom, going through a divorce, losing my grandfather, which was, man, I don't even know how, there are not adequate words to describe what he meant to me. And just not trusting men. You know, not trusting, not wanting to be loved by one, just like stay away. To leaning into what I knew God had blessed me with and gifted me with, which was my husband. I'm still learning that 10 years later. When we have a disagreement, my first thought is he's going to leave me. My first thought is this isn't going to work. We're done. We've been married almost 10 years. This isn't working. It's not working. It is that is a trauma response. Absolutely. And I talk a lot about that when I coach people. It happens to me. I'm human. When you have, if you're a believer, I am, I talk about it a lot. I couldn't get through this life without the Lord. If you have a trauma response to a situation that you know God has for you, right? My husband was for me. Lean into the Lord more than you lean into your spouse. To look for that comfort. Because my husband can't give me the comfort that I need sometimes. Like if I'm mad at him, I don't want to give him a hug. Like, last thing I want to do is hug him. I need to hug him for 60 seconds and then say, okay, I don't even know what we're mad about, but I don't do that. I'm not there yet. But I think if we will lean into the gifter, right? So you lean into the gifter, then you're like, okay, I'm mad at him. He's still the son of a king. So can't be mad long.
Who am I to question it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so I find myself a lot in situations because I think it will happen my whole life where I have a trauma response, like initially, and then I like back up and I'm like, okay, what is realistic?
Yeah, what's going on?
Everybody's not out to get Shannon, right? If a real estate agent's mad at me, she's not out to destroy my business. She's just got mad at me because I didn't answer my phone when she called 94 times in a row. And it happens, y'all. It happens. Y'all think stagers have it easy. We do not.
No one thinks bosses. I don't think that. I have no desire to enter that space.
It was so funny to say that I didn't want to work for anybody because so you think every real estate agent I have a house stage for is my boss, and her sellers are my bosses.
Yes.
If I have 60 houses staged,
I
have 180 bosses. Yes. That's a lot. It's more than one at the hospital.
Yes, exactly.
But I love it. I love it. I love that I was blessed with 2 careers that I could do and love. And, one was just for one season, and staging, I feel like, is for this season. And, the goal is to get out of the business as far as me being so saturated in it and coaching full time.
Love it.
That's where my heart is just getting people to their best self.
Yeah.
Yep.
And y'all, if you're not following along, this like what Shannon has created in terms of the staging company, we know that we said largest staging company in the Carolinas, that's plural. So just so we're very clear, is a long way from you, your husband, and a Honda Odyssey. I'll have to point that out. You now have fleets, warehouses, and employees galore. But again, what's next for Shannon? I saw recently that there was a post that you and your son are now going to be business partners.
So we are, Zachary and I met Alan at a coaching summit. I'm happy to have you guys link him. Zachary, okay, so my youngest is the salt of the earth. Listen, if you have ever heard, well, that guy's a teddy bear, it's my kid. He is, love him. But he's always been a bigger boy. He's just always been a bigger kid. Like I said, Shannon didn't always put Shannon first. And so I had weight that I wanted to lose. So I go to this, let me back up and say this. So I went to my doctor 2 weeks ago and I said, Dr. Catherine, I need you to give me the fat shot. And she's like, Shannon, I said, I need the shot. I need to try it for a month, see if I hate it or love it. But I'm not eating sugar. I don't eat bread. I don't eat anything that tastes good. And it's not coming off. I've got to have, give me the shot. And she's like,
and I'm trying to paint a magical dash, and this is making it hard for that dash to be magical. Nothing tastes good.
Come on. I mean, it's like, so anyway, she's like, okay, I'll give it to you for 5 weeks. So this is before Summit, right? Yes. Natalie, I'm sure you followed along for that. So it's before Summit. So Summit's on Thursday and Friday. And I got home, got the shot on Monday. So I go to start the shot Friday morning. And I had heard Alan speak the day before at Summit about, now Alan is a personal trainer in Canada. His story is very similar to my youngest son's. He is just a bigger kid, works out, the weight's just not going anywhere, feels bad about himself, no confidence, but he was a great guy, right? Just like my Zachary's a great guy, but he's missing the confidence piece. And once my kid gets that, he's unstoppable.
Look out. Yeah.
But there's only so much I can do as a mom to keep my relationship intact. Like, I don't need to be his coach. I don't need to be his personal trainer. That's not my role. Some parents, if that's your role, that's great. I'm not knocking it. For me and my child's relationship, that wasn't what he needed.
Mhm.
So I met Alan, heard Alan speak on Thursday. I get up on Friday, getting ready to go to Summit. And I'm like, oh, I gotta give myself a shot. And I was pumped. I was like, I'm gonna be skinny by tomorrow morning. And I go to get it out of the refrigerator, and I'm like, it was the Lord. I say something. It was the Lord said, don't do it.
Mm.
Don't do the shot.
Mm.
And I had paid for it, right? I mean, I'm like,
Mhm.
this. I'm like, no, Jesus, this is paid for with your blessing of funds. I got myself
Yeah.
a shot.
Yes.
I'm gonna do it. And I'm like, nope, just something. I was like, I can't do. I just had this feeling. I just couldn't do it. So I go back to Summit on Friday. Summit was amazing, and hear John Maxwell speak. And I get up after lunch to go to the restroom, and I ran into Alan in the lobby.
Mhm.
Now, if any other coaches are listening to this podcast, you know who Dan Martell is. He is the bee's knees of coaches. Everybody strives to think like Dan Martell.
Yes.
Alan is Dan Martell's coach, fitness coach.
Mm.
Okay. So I walk up to Alan and I'm like, Al. Now, I've not checked out Alan's pricing. I've only heard Alan speak. Not looking at Alan's pricing, this is where all coaches strive to get.
Mm-hmm.
You want somebody to say, I don't care what it cost.
Yeah.
I need that.
Yes.
Don't care what you cost a month. I need you in my life, because what is it going to cost me not to have you? That's what when I go through my whole deep dive with people and they're like, okay, well, how much does it cost? I'm like, I'm not answering that.
Mm-hmm.
You've unpacked your entire life in 45 minutes. I want you to write down everything it's going to cost you to not hire me and call me back tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
They're either going to call or they're not.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't call, they're not my person. It's not that I was too expensive. It's that they weren't ready.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, Alan is Dan Martell. So I'm like, you have been with Dan Martell. Like, have you shook his hand? Have you heard Dan Martell? It's not just Dan. It's got to be Dan Martell, right?
Yes.
It's just got to say the whole name.
You always say the first and
Who's
last name.
Dan?
Always. Yes.
Who's Dan? Nobody. Dan Martell.
Yes.
Everybody.
Everyone.
So I'm talking to Alan about my youngest, and I'm like, listen, me sitting there acting like I don't have 50 pounds to lose. I'm like, Zachary, like your story reminds me a lot of Zachary, da da da. And I'm like, he's like, FaceTime him right now. I was like, really? And just so happened, Zachary was out of school that Friday, had a half day. So I FaceTimed and Alan talked to Zachary. Like, he was like, dude, tell me about yourself. Like, I'm sure you don't have a lot of confidence, but, and Zachary's like, no, I don't. Like, I wake up every day feeling bad about myself, and like cried on the phone with Alan. Never met this dude.
Mm.
So they hang up and Alan's like, what are you going to do about it? That's a coach question if I ever heard one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What are you going to do about it?
Mm-hmm.
This is how your kid feels getting up in the mornings. Your kid that you love with all your heart, your baby,
Mm-hmm.
feels like this. What are you going to do about it?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'll sign him up. I'll sign him up right now. I don't care what it costs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cause Zachary had texted me and he's like, Mom, he was ripped. I was like, do you want to look like that? Do you want to feel like he feels?
Yeah.
More than looks, I want my child to feel himself
Yes.
in a positive way.
Yes.
And that comes with taking care of yourself and shedding extra weight and all that. So anyway,
releasing it. We like to say
releasing
releasing it in our world. Yes.
Yes, honey. Release it.
Yes.
And so I was like, I could probably only afford Zachary.
Yeah.
And that was fine. I was willing to listen. I'll make that sacrifice. I'll do the shot. I'll just do the shot, And he's like, nope, not doing that. He said he's 16. He's never going to do it without you, ever.
Mm.
And I have to do it. Y'all have to do it together. It's not going to work.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, this, Dan Martell, in my eyes, is literally what coaches strive to be. You want stadiums full of people listening to you. You want the knowledge. You want to help people. And because I truly believe he does. I truly believe, especially the younger generation, he doesn't want to see them do this all the time. He wants to see them look and change the world. And yes. And I thought, if that man ain't wasted money, right? That man's not just giving money away to a trainer. I thought, if he trusts him, I've heard him speak. God told me not to do the shots. God put me in front of Alan this afternoon, and he FaceTimed my kid, and my kid's texting me like, how much is he? Because Zachary only works at Chick-fil-A. You know, he's like, I don't know if I can afford him on the Chick-fil-A salary. And
poor Zachary, he's like, what'd you sign me up for? I'm going to have to pick up extra shift.
So Alan's like, let's do it. Start tomorrow. And so we're on day 11.
Yes.
Of Alan. Love him. We have to text him every morning and tell him our weight, because we're doing a 16-day cleanse. That's how he starts.
Yep.
And text him our weight, how we feel, all, that. And then he texts us back, or he'll call you and say, you didn't have enough water yesterday. Tell me why. I mean, he's not just a fitness trainer. He is truly a coach on how to be your best self in your body. So Zachary and I have partnered.
Yes.
And it is our business, because if he doesn't finish, he has to pay me $1,500.
Yeah. Okay.
If I don't finish, I have to pay him $1,500, right? We're business partners. We have to hold each other accountable. And and he's like, it's hard. I'm not going to lie. I'll probably never eat eggs after this cleanse.
I was going to say, are you sick of eggs and grapefruit? Yeah.
Well, I'm not even supposed to eat eggs. They cause a massive amount of inflammation in my body. And so I told Alan that. He was like, are you doing the cleanse or not?
Oh,
I'm doing the cleanse, man.
Yes,
I'll do the cleanse. Sorry. No eggs after the sick. But so I do like to think of our this is a business partnership.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we're down 34 pounds between the both of us in 11 days.
That's awesome.
And it's hard when I'm eating. I'm like, I don't even like Alan. I don't even know why I talk to Alan. I don't know if I ever want to see Alan again.
Yeah.
But I know that God told me not to do the shot because that wasn't natural for it's man-made, right? And so you don't know all the things that can happen. And this I have control over, right? What I put in my body and how much I exercise and water I drink. And again, here come the intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
Right, Shannon, you were always chubby as a kid. You're probably going to always be chubby. You've gotten skinny before, but you didn't stick with it. You could take this amount of money and do this with it instead. And even as strong-minded Christian women and coaches and business owners and all the things we're rocking out over here, those intrusive thoughts happen.
Yeah.
And if there's anything on this podcast that I want people to take away from me, it's as fast as intrusive thoughts come to mind, you are able to get them out of the way. But people lean into the wrong thing. They're leaning into that maybe I am supposed to be chubby. Maybe I am supposed to be this or that, or my kids this or that, instead of leaning into the gifter.
Yeah.
Right? Alan did not come to that summit for no reason. I don't know how many other clients he got, but I can tell you I was leaving and I was going to be a client.
Yeah.
And
didn't even matter. Right? It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter how much.
And he didn't care.
No.
Like he was like, I asked him just out of curiosity, because I'm a business-minded person. How many clients did you get? And he was like, I don't even know, but I'm just glad to have you and Zachary.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, man. I mean, so when it would have been so easy for me to leave there and take the easy way out, which is do the shot, just don't eat a lot, be nauseous all day, every day until you drop 60 pounds. Hope Zachary got on board at some point with doing something. Because at 16, you're like, I'm tired of begging you to eat good, or I'm tired of begging you to go. But instead, I was like, we got to do this together. We're going to run this business together.
Yeah.
Right. And I think people miss opportunities a lot. Like, because of intrusive thoughts. Yeah. If I'd thought I'm just going to be a chubby girl forever, I would have walked right past Alan, never talked to him again, instead of leaning into a gift. Right. People don't come. I don't believe in coincidences. Right. I'd been thinking about losing weight and all the things. I mean, I went to the doctor for it and then met Alan. That's not a coincidence.
No.
And so I think when the intrusive thoughts happen, right, and it's different for everybody and how you get rid of those, I say I'm going to lean into a gift. Right. I'm not meant to be the chubby girl forever. I mean, listen, I told my husband, you need to be a little scared about what's going to happen when I get sick. I don't know what that means, but it comes to my mind.
Yes.
That something's going to happen. Like,
exactly. In your mind, you're already there. So he needs to be prepared for when he sees it too.
Crop tops and
pants
that show my ankles.
Good.
But so again, like they're going to happen our whole lives. I think Billy Graham had intrusive thoughts. John Maxwell has it. Everybody has them. It's just part of what happens, but it's how you respond to it. It's really just like, I'm not meant to be the chubby girl. Like I want to walk in a room and not look around and go, am I the fattest person here? I'm not kidding you. That has happened to me where I have walked in and gone, am I the fattest person here? Or does anybody else have a double chin? I just need one more double chin person sitting next to me and then I'll feel fine. I'm serious. Women, we know, whether you want to admit it or not, I don't care how much Botox you get, lip filler, how many plastic surgeries you've had, we have intrusive thoughts.
100% all the time.
But very quickly, they can be diminished. You just have to figure out if you're ready to live your life in the way of diminishing intrusive thoughts or leaning into them. I don't want to live my life, living on intrusive thoughts and having them affect me in a negative way.
And control your destiny.
Totally 100%. Yeah.
Love it.
Oh my gosh.
So good. So good.
Shannon Hawkins, the coach of Mastering Your Dash. Oh my gosh.
Love it.
This has been an absolute honor. Just for our listeners, Shannon and I had the chance to meet this summer at the camp that she was mentioning. And I remember getting into the room and everyone just saying, oh my gosh, that's Shannon. She's like the best stager on the East Coast. And I was like, oh, shoot. Well, I need to know more about it.
I wanted to sit with you because I love your voice.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank
Natalie has it to me. And it was even brought up in the summer camp. Like you have this great authoritative voice.
Thank you.
And I remember Matt saying it. We did roundtable and I just remember sitting next to you and just thinking, she's like writing notes in her little tablet and I've got my notebook paper over here and she's so cute and she's got it together. And so it doesn't matter.
That's type A now. Yes.
I'm sitting next to her and she's beautiful and that's where I'm sitting.
That's it. I am so glad. And it wasn't a coincidence because I agree. It wasn't a coincidence that we got to sit next to each other. And Shannon, in her giving heart, gave me a ride to the airport as well, which was completely out of the way. But she did it nonetheless. And I'm glad that we had that time together because that's where I got to hear a little glimpse of your story. And so thank you for sharing so much of your story today with us and our listeners. We are so grateful. We're so grateful.
Thank you for having me. It's been an honor to be here with y'all. And I hope I get to hug your neck this summer. I hope you come back for another
Absolutely.
camp.
I'm coming back. I mean, mainly because I fell in love with Charleston. Probably the city that I fell in love with the fastest. And I get to see a lot of cities in a year, and I fell in love the fastest with Charleston.
Well, Pam, if you come, we'll make it a girls' weekend, and we'll do all the fun things.
Okay.
But y'all watch out because by then I'm going to be skinny. So it's all right. Shannon on the town.
Oh boy, we'll get to see that part of Shannon.
I cannot wait to meet her. I cannot wait to meet her. Just tell her I said hello, and I will be there.
Honey. She hears you.
She's here. She's there.
Oh my goodness. Well, we will make sure that we put all of Shannon's contact information, both her coaching information and her staging information, because not only does she work in the Carolinas, but she will do staging consult services across the country virtual because of the fabulous tools that we now have and resources that we have to go virtual. So Shannon, we'll make sure that we put all of that in your show notes or in our show notes about you. And of course, you all, if you want to know what's happening in the world of Reignite Resilience, head on over to reigniteresilience.com or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. And make sure that you download, subscribe, and like, and share these episodes with your friends because we're having a great time meeting some fabulous people around the world. So until next time, we'll see you all soon.
Thanks,
See you
everyone.
soon.
Thank you for joining us today on the Reignite Resilience podcast. We hope you had some aha moments and learned a few new real-life ideas to fuel the flames of passion. Please subscribe on your favorite streaming platform, like or download your favorite episodes, and of course, share with your friends and family. We look forward to seeing you again next time on Reignite Resilience.